NEPA, with the Penguins winning the opening puck drop here on Military Appreciation Night. You can see the Penguins wearing their military-inspired threads for this one, as Sebastian Aho will slide one around the offensive zone, riding the boards from right to left. Penguins trying to put rubber to the road with their Motor World starting lineup. Aiden McDonough at forward. Joona Koppanen, Philip Hallander out here on this forward line as well. Aho and Kemp, the rear guards, as the Penguins are going to pitch one back to the left point. But their captain, Phil Kemp, unable to keep things onside. Wilkes-Barre Scranton going to try to maintain possession as they regroup. Tipped down back to Islanders territory. Penguins also altering their personnel as Avery Hayes jumps out for his first shift of the game. Koppanen, the lone holdover from the previous shift, helps win the puck back to the blue line. Once again, it wiggles past Chase Pietila, now stolen away by Liam Foudy. Islanders get a good look, and it's stopped down low by Joel Blomqvist.
Tonight's goalie matchup.
Prime opportunity for Bridgeport right off the hop, and Joel Blomqvist shuts the door at the right time. Gives us a prime opportunity to look at our Vector Security starting goalie matchup. Joel Blomqvist going up against Jeremy Smith of the Bridgeport Islanders. Smith playing just his fourth game with the Isles. He's 1-1-1, with his only win being a shutout in his Bridgeport debut. Joel Blomqvist, meanwhile, trying to bounce back after being pulled in his last start, Sunday, February 15th. He stopped 13 of 16 in that one, but he still has a .913 save percentage on the year and a 2.54 goals against average, and already a pretty impressive save on his resume to begin this one. Referees for tonight's game are Jack Young and Patrick Hanrahan, and our linesmen this evening are John Ray and Bill Lyons. John Ray with the puck in hand. Well, it was. Now he slams it back to the ice. Penguins win another draw. Slapped out to the neutral zone by Tristan Burrows. He joined by Rutger McRory and Avery Hayes on this line that's been mighty productive for head coach Kirk McDonald since they were put together. Hayes accepts a hit and flings it down the right side boards. Penguins get to work for it. Thrown back to the blue line. Dumba in the slot. Avery Hayes denied by Jeremy Smith. And now Bridgeport races the other way. Liam Foudy, speedy player and a former first-round pick by Columbus, gets shrugged off the puck by Chase Pietila. Penguins slap it back between the blue lines. Both teams with one shot on goal here in the early goings of this one, and both goaltenders making excellent saves. Blomqvist sees one drift to his right. Picked up by Scooter Bricky, recalled from Wheeling earlier today. Thrown to center and mishandled by Aaron Hughlin. That'll loosen up the puck for Ethan Baer of the Bridgeport Islanders. Now Adam Beckman slings it down to the Penguin zone. Beckman, Bridgeport's leading scorer this season. 18 goals on the year for the veteran forward. Carousels it around the Penguin zone. Matthew Highmore trying to protect it from Owen Pickering. Cycle play cut off by Hughlin. Bounced right back to Highmore. Eats a shoulder from Hughlin, but Highmore keeps on ticking. Highmore down in the right corner. Shadowed by Hughlin. Levy to the blue line. D-to-D pass. Now pitch to Beckman. High slot. His drive blocked by Bricky off of his boots and goes over the glass. Penguins head coach Kirk McDonald led the Penguins to a 40-win season in his first year behind the bench. Now the Pens enter tonight 33-13-3-2. Second place in the Atlantic Division. Third best record in the entire league. 20 games remaining for the Penguins after tonight, so it feels like it's pretty much a lock at this point. You don't want to put the cart in front of the horse, but it feels like it's a lock that it's going to be 2 straight 40-win seasons for McDonald here at the helm. Bridgeport's going to cycle it from the left corner to the right, but no one there on the receiving end of that pass. Aho, first blocked off by Bridgeport. Now the Penguins able to muscle it across that Penguins logo at center ice. Brought back ahead by Ethan Baer. Dances down the left wing wall, chips it behind the Penguins net to Julien Gauthier. Reverses, once again, no one there for Bridgeport. Phil Kemp looking for a way out now. Boko Imama slaps it in front of the penalty boxes. Howe takes a tumble, jumps right back up to his feet and hoists it down to the aisle zone. Imama on the forecheck, throws a hit. Knocked the puck free for a moment. Howe couldn't track it down. Now it's Dumbo walking in for a slapper. Ends up being redirected over the glass once more. 2:59 played so far here in this first period. Bridgeport looking like a brand new squad as of late. Rocky Thompson, the man who's masterminded this turnaround. You might look at their record, 21-3-4, and say, well, that's not that crazy. That doesn't feel like an elevator to the penthouse, but they're 5th place in the Atlantic Division. This is the latest into a season that Bridgeport has occupied a playoff spot since 2019, ladies and gentlemen. So they're thrilled about the way things have gone this season, even though there's other teams that might be ahead of them in the standings. Bridgeport trying to get back to the playoffs here this year. Pietila Searching for Kolpanen. Missed the 27-year-old forward, but Kolpanen races up, steals it away. Pass in front for Hallander, denied, then banks it back in front. Trickles to the right point, juggled along by Matt Dumba. Wearing the extra face protection after taking a puck on Sunday. Pietila with a slapper. That got blocked by the Islanders. Now Kolpanen with it again. Renders it for Pietila. Wrist shot ensnared by Jeremy Smith. Philip Hallander with a great opportunity right on the doorstep there, created by the hustle of Joona Kolpanen. Philip Hallander playing his second game of a conditioning loan from Pittsburgh. He was diagnosed with a blood clot in his leg in early November. Hadn't played at all for Pittsburgh or Wilkes-Barre Scranton until he returned to the Pens lineup just on Wednesday night, February 18th against Springfield, part of that 7-2 victory by the Penguins. Penguins ease it back to the right point. Avery Hayes was standing there in lieu of Scooter Bricky. Horseshoot around the attacking end. Now Hayes is going to snap it down into the trenches again. Pickering touches it to McCrory. Whipped back to the point. Scooter Bricky returns it to Rucker McCrory. Finds Pickering. Top of the key over to Hayes. One-timer snapped it through the crease and wide. Careens off the corner boards and trickles all the way back to the Penn side of the equation. Avery Hayes unafraid to shoot from anywhere, and he's proven an ability to score from pretty much anywhere in the offensive zone, but really that one-timer from the left wall has become his specialty as of late. Icing called here against Wilkes-Barre Scranton as Tristan Brose is going to meander his way back to the Penguin zone. Tristan Brose, like Avery Hayes, made his NHL debut earlier this season. That was back on November 26. Tristan Brose, both players making their NHL debut against the Buffalo Sabres. Brose's was at home at PPG Paints Arena. Hayes on the road, scoring twice in that NHL debut, Avery Hayes. More on that as we continue along in our broadcast. Meanwhile, draw secured by Bridgeport. Ethan Bear lets one fly, blocked by the Penguins, tipped up into the air, pulled back in by Bear. Former Edmonton Oiler, sandwiched between two Penguins, tried to be lifted out by Pickering. Instead, it wobbles into the Wilkes-Barre Scranton bench. 4.5 minutes down so far here in this first period. They say the shots are 2-1 for Wilkes-Barre Scranton right now. Today's presenting sponsor is Coors Light, colder, cleaner, and crisper for those who thirst for more. Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer. From the Penguins bench, they flip the puck over the wall to that fan there, seated about 4 or 5 rows back from the action. Prime real estate to take in Penguins hockey, but there's really not a bad seat in the house here. Pretty filled up here for this military appreciation night. As Crown waiting for an opportunity to burst forth. Hoping it's a Penguins goal to kick things off, but Bridgeport has numbers the other way. A wrist shot and a big glove save by Joel Blomqvist. Reached down with the left hand, plucked that one out of the sky, denying Highmore. A turnover in the neutral zone. Highmore breaks the other way. Knew the pass wasn't there. Well defended by Sebastian Aho, trying to pick that far corner, and Blomqvist was having none of it. We said back in the open of our broadcast, Bridgeport, they've scored first 33 times, second most in the AHL, but the Penguins are often tallying first as well. They're tied for the 6th most first goals in the league. They've done it 28 times this year, and they're 23, 3-1, and 1 when doing so. Koivunen looks over his right shoulder as he approaches a puck in front of the Bridgeport bench. Going to be chased back towards Penguins territory by Cam Berg, but got it to Dumba, went D to D, and then floated up to the far side of the ice for Aaron Huglin. He, like Dumba, wearing the extra face protection. Suffered a broken jaw earlier this season, Aaron Huglin. Puck heaved down the left wall into the Penguin zone. Pietila takes a check, but passes over to Boko Imama. Now he's tied up by Julien Gauthier. Muscles it loose, but only black and gold uniforms around Blomqvist crease. Now absconding with it is Boko Imama, churning his legs at center. Hay bails it down the right glass. Smith out to play it. Imama beat him to it, tried to pass in front. That path blocked off by Bridgeport. Howe was wide open between the hash marks, ready to accept that pass from Imama. Kicked away by Bridgeport. Now it's Howe on the back check with a great interception there. However, his chip pass misses Boko Imama, and is going to be an icing here against the Penguins. Atlee Calvert drifting back to the Penguin zone, likely to take this face-off. didn't record any points in that Penguins 7-2 victory against Springfield, but the thing is, he was a key, instrumental figure in a handful of the Penguins' goals that they scored last night, particularly 2 by his line mate, Tanner Howe. So even when the points aren't showing up necessarily for players, you go back, you watch the tape, and you see how just making little plays results in positive impacts. That was the case for Atlee Calvert the other night. Here's Travis Mitchell with a try that goes wide, reeled in by Beckman. Thrown board to board. Cole McWard, who's enjoyed this season series against the Pens, returns to Beckman, shot and score. Blomqvist bumped on its way in, but the referee says it's an opening tally for Beckman in Bridgeport. His 19th of the year, and the 34th time this season that Bridgeport has struck first. McWard and Beckman dealing it back and forth in the Penguin zone, sending that one upstairs under the crossbar. And you could see even Beckman looking over his shoulder after he celebrated the goal to see if the referee would wash it out. Ultimately, the determination is a good goal, much to the chagrin of McDonald and the Penguins. And it's 1-0 Isles. Cole McWard going to pick up his 6th assist and 7th point of this season series against the Penguins in 5 games. Calder Cup champion last year with the Abbotsford Canucks, and has been a big-time point producer from the blue line for Bridgeport this season. 21st point of the year for the rear guard. Penguins trying to answer, but offside called against the Islanders, which really was good news for Bridgeport. The Penguins are ready to race up ice. Instead, the 1-0 lead for Bridgeport remains intact. We'll be right back here on your Penguins Broadcast Network. We're in good shape, thank you. We pointed out before that this crowd was ready to burst forth, but it's Bridgeport scoring the game's first goal. Adam Beckman with his 19th of the year. Penguins had a couple of strong shifts thereafter, but now we'll see if they can challenge Jeremy Smith. First time they've seen Smith this season, journeyman netminder. Joined Bridgeport mid-season. More on him as our coverage continues here. Penguins have to try to go all 200 feet the other way if they are going to get a shot at Smith here. Bricky battling forward in the corner. Terry comes away with it, flipped in front, but the shot steered wide. Joey Larson denied in front. Now Iona Kolpanen has had a good start to this game. Will fling it down to the right corner. Finishes his hit on McWard. Got it over to a teammate. Penguins disrupt the pass on the breakout. Plucked away by Rucker McRorty. His shot then stymied. Pierrick Dubé with it now. Calder Cup champion 2 years ago with Hershey. Misses Kiefler on the lead pass. Icing called against the Isles. Avery Hayes getting his instructions from Matt Dumb at Chase Pietila, making sure they're all on the same page. No one has been hotter than Avery Hayes for the Penguins, or maybe even in the game of hockey. 2 hat tricks this month. First 2 hat tricks of his career as well. One capped off in overtime, winning the game for the Penguins at Hershey, and then the other night in Springfield. Rucker McRorty had 2 assists on Avery Hayes' 3 goals on Wednesday, but he can't settle down that puck. Going to be chipped out to the Penguins' blue line. Chase Pietila Goes D to Matt Dumba. 31-year-old defenseman wants McRory. Instead, it's tipped down to the Islanders' zone, right for a streaking Hayes. His shot broken up by Bridgeport. Travis Mitchell with the stick on puck defense. Avery Hayes also had 10 shots on goal for the Penguins on Wednesday. Season high for any Penguin this year. He leads the team in shots overall on the season, too. And with the way he's been scoring, there's no reason for him to holster any of those shots, that's for sure. 117 shots on goal in 35 games coming into tonight for Avery Hayes. He's back on the bench. Fernstrom, Koivunen, and Hughlin on now for the black and gold. D-zone draw won by Bridgeport. Escorted into the attacking zone by Isaiah George. Sliced back to the top of the left circle, hammered wide by Bear. Then the rebound just trickles across the goal line. Big bounce off the end boards, and Julien Gauthier able to flip it through. 2-0 Islanders with 12:05 still left in the first period. Now this pass may have been intended for someone in the slot, but it makes its way back to Ethan Bear. His shot goes wide, but it trampolines off the end boards, and Julien Gauthier able to get just enough of that puck, not only to poke it past the goalie paddle of Blomqvist, but that puck crossed the goal line by maybe an inch and a half at most. But that's all you need. Just a little bit of daylight between the goal line and the white paint on the ice. And that's a good goal. No arguments from the Penguins either. So 2 early ones here for the Islanders. First Beckman, then Gauthier. Penguins are going to chop one over the boards. Falls down into about the third row. Section 116. Cole McWard and Travis Mitchell awarded the assists on the Beckman goal. The AHL box score online says it's Ethan Bear and Isaiah George with the assists on the Julien Gauthier strike, his 5th of the season, Gauthier. Goals at 6:06 and 7:55 of the first period. We had the commercial break in between, but it's ultimately a minute and 59 seconds of game time. Minute 49 seconds of game time, there we go. But a blocker save made by Jeremy Smith. Penguins hard at work on the forecheck. Pass intended for Calvert, drifts over his stick, picked up now by Julien Gauthier. Roaring down the right wing, hits the brakes at the hash mark, cycles down into the corner. Cam Berg, pressured there by Scooter Bricky. Slipped over to the left side point. Travis Mitchell darts it back down into the trenches. Matthew Maggio lets it roll to Alex Jeffries. Horseshoes it back to the left. Mitchell keeps it onside, barely so, but the action continues for Bridgeport. Here's Alex Jeffries, high cycle with Mitchell. Shot down low by the defenseman, denied by Blomqvist. And he'll freeze the puck with 11 minutes exactly left in this first of 3 periods tonight. Halliner, McDonough, Koivunen coming out now for the Penguins. Biedela and Dumba, the defense pairing. Face off to the right-hand side, blocker side of Joel Blomqvist. Noona Koivunen in his 9th season of professional hockey. Started in his native Finland. And has spent a lot of time here in the American Hockey League. First with the Providence Bruins, 3rd season here with Wilkes-Barre Scranton. Koivunen on the face-off. Penguins can't navigate out. They believe the puck hit the protective netting behind Blomqvist. A late whistle, but the officials ultimately do agree with the Penguins there. Now it's Bridgeport changing its personnel. Joey Larson coming out with Cam Thiesing and the super vet Chris Terry. 17th year pro. Was scratched last night in their shootout loss to the Springfield Thunderbirds, but given that it's a 3-3, they're letting Terry kind of ease into this one. Trying to topple the 2nd place Penguins, 2 games in a row. A tall order for Bridgeport, but they're up 2-0 right now. These 2 teams will square off at 3 p.m. in Connecticut tomorrow. Game time moved up due to the oncoming winter storm that's hitting the East Coast. It was originally going to be 5. Now it's at 3. Biedela swings one to Dumba. Quickly touched to Noona Koivunen. As an open man on the right side, that's Aiden McDonough. Able to hack it past Isaiah George. Dunn and George shoulder to shoulder, ride one another into the wall. Bear comes in for help. Stolen away by Tristan Brose, tries to leave it for Philip Hallander. Has it, slaps it back down into the left corner. Brose from Bloomington, Minnesota, drifts up to the blue line, giving to McCrory. Exchanged into the slot. Phil Kemp bangs it over to the right wall. Dumba accepts it. Given to Rucker McCrory. Wrist shot, gets blocked wide. Brose up on the forecheck, has the puck in his clutches again. Kicks it from his skate to his stick. Stick handling back and forth. Now he'll carousel it down the boards. Avery Hayes waiting for it. He'll cycle now. Aho joins the play. Former Bridgeport Sound Tiger, wearing an alternate captain's A here for the Penguins. Leaves one for Hayes at the left boards. Dances towards the slot. Shot goes wide to the short side. Penguins all over the Islanders on this shift, though, as Aho trying to stick handle in a phone booth. Brose comes in for help. He's knocked down. Puck stuck underneath him. Freed up here for Ethan Bear. Pounced upon by Rucker McCrory. Can't get the pass to the slot for Brose. And going to be hacked out now by Chris Terry. Bricky, long distance pass, picked off by Bridgeport. They're onside. It's Dalen Kiefler orbiting behind the Penguins net. Pass back up high, shot and a stop by Blomqvist. Stops Pierrick Dubé on that one. Going to be the fourth save of the game for Blomqvist, but a 2-goal lead for Bridgeport. We'll be right back on your Penguins broadcast network. Thank you. They're celebrating on the concourse as well. A little physical challenge here during Military Appreciation Night. Meanwhile, it's been Bridgeport building the edge on Wilkes-Barre Scranton here. All right, they really are fired up back there. The adrenaline coursing through the veins of our push-up contest winner. Meanwhile, face-off won by Bridgeport as they're trying to add to their lead, and a bullet by Berg gets eaten up by Joel Blomqvist. Joel Blomqvist, second-round pick by Pittsburgh back in 2020, doing his best to prevent Bridgeport from really running away with things here. Penguins are going to make a change at center here. Joona Koppanen comes on to replace Atlee Calvert. Philip Hallander makes room for Calvert on the bench. Had 4 points in 13 games with Pittsburgh before he was diagnosed with that blood clot in his leg, including his first NHL goal. Brutal luck for Hallander as he was killing it up there with the big club. Spent the last 2 years over in his native Sweden, was SHL Rookie of the Year last year, or not Rookie of the Year, Forward of the Year. It was Melvin Fernstrom who was Rookie of the Year last year in the SHL. Nevertheless, Hallander made his return to North America this year, now a father of 2. Started great, now trying to battle his way back to the big club. Chase Pietila leaves it in the corner for Koppanen. He's tied up, but Tanner Howe now swoops in. Pressed against the boards by Mitchell. That knocks the puck ajar for Julien Gauthier. Bridgeport's second goal scorer here in this first period. 8:20 left in the opening frame as it's going to be wrenched down to Penguins territory. Blomqvist taps it for Dumba. Sent ahead to Hughlin, now fired up to Ville Koivunen. 15 points in his last 10 games. Dropped it to the 19-year-old Melvin Fernstrom. Will turn 20 later this month. tied up at the blue line. Bridgeport races the other way, but now they are deemed offside. And in the case of Melvin Fernstrom, it's not often you see teenagers playing in this league, let alone succeeding at the rate that he has. Started the year in Sweden, came over in early February, made his debut with the club back on February 6th, and he's a point-per-game player through his first 5 AHL games. 5 points, 5 games, a +5 rating as well. And Kirk McDonald has really been quick to compliment the youngsters' physicality, something you don't see from the teenagers here playing against grown men. He not only wins his puck battles, he's willing to engage in those hard-to-win areas as well. That's what's really stuck out to the Penguins head coach, with number 43 in black and gold still out here for another shift, but it's going to be number 44, Pietila, twirling it deep. Smith lays it around the board, skips back to the right point. Dumba stalls it there. Flip down into the corner. Koivunen takes a hit from Sean Day. Hughlin snagged it for a moment. Broken up by Bridgeport. Now they head up ice. Alex Jeffrey scampers in front of both benches. Down the right wing, will swirl it over to the left. With a Koivunen there, tied up by Highmore, but he'll bank it to center. Foot race for it. Fernstrom beaten to it by Bear. Sky hooked out by Bridgeport. Glove down by Kemp, Greenwich, Connecticut native. Fires this one down into the attacking zone. 7 minutes left in the first period. Hallander up on the forecheck, but couldn't stab it away from the aisles. They're onside. Liam Foodie trying to shake and bake. Gains some space from Kemp. Angles it off the left side boards. Bear back to Liam Foodie. Former Cleveland Monster. Reverses down the wall. Aho read it. Jumped in the way. Stabs it out to center and now leads the rush onside. Sebastian Aho from the left dot. In front looking for Kopanen, but he was tied up by Isaiah George. No penalties have been called against either team so far in this first period. A clean 2-0 lead for Bridgeport right now. Dubé missed Foodie on the pass. McDonough hunts it to an open area for Scooter Bricky to reel it in. Sent deep. Smith, fake going to the right, threw it over to the left. McCrory steals it away. Now Bros unable to pull the trigger. Puck just wouldn't cooperate for him. Bridgeport may have averted disaster there. Now Bricky runs over Chris Terry in the corner. Terry thought he was going to catch the Penguins defenseman looking the wrong way. Instead, he bulldozed through Terry, but the Penguins called for offside at the other side of the ice. 6:08 still remaining here in the first period of play. Hayes joins his line mates, Bros and McCrory. He'll be opposed by Terry, Thiesing, and Larson. Joey Larson, 15 goals right now in his rookie season, but it's going to be McWard elevating this down to the Penguin zone. Hit by Dumba. Pietila knocks it free, allows Rucker McCrory to play with it for a brief moment. He's quickly swarmed by Thiesing along the right wall. Larson lurking outside that pile. Both Pietila and Bros trying to whip it free, and they do so. Dumba, saucer to center, and then a back pass by Hayes connects to Bros. Up to Rucker McCrory, protecting the puck. Lobs it backwards for Bros. Checked off by McWard, stolen again by Rucker McCrory. Down the left wing, wrist shot, short side, handled by Jeremy Smith. As Hayes is getting snarly with Mitchell. Terry came in there as well, and Hayes not backing down. Never one to shy away from a scrap, Avery Hayes. As both Terry and Mitchell unimpressed with Hayes lingering a bit too much around the blue paint. But Rucker McCrory ultimately stymied there by Jeremy Smith. Keeps Bridgeport up by 2 on your Penguins broadcast network. Offensive zone face-off for the Pens. They're keeping the Burrows-Hayes-McCrory line out here. Highmore pulls that puck to the wall. McCrory tied up by Warren. Penguins trying to force that one to Hayes. Two defenders quickly swarm the Pens' 23-year-old forward. Running the other way with it was Adam Beckman. Opened the scoring for Bridgeport. Back at 6:06 of this first period did Beckman, former Utica Comets. Aho, however, puts one on a rope for Burrows. It's the Penguins' easy access into the attacking end. Hayes drops it up high. Walking in is Matt Dumba, shuffles it wide of the post. Had Aho breaking to that backside, couldn't get there in time. Lobbed out again by Bridgeport. Penguins tried to heave it deep, got tied up with one of the bodies changing at the Bridgeport bench, but quick to jump up to it is Boko Imama. Now play stopped, and they're going to call, I believe that's offside. You can even see Bill Lyon signaling to the Penguins bench, that one's on me. Ethan Bear, he looks just about as flummoxed as everybody else, but he's fit in nicely here in Bridgeport. Last year he was named to the AHL second All-Star team for his work patrolling the blue line for the Hershey Bears. Oftentimes last year I would say Bear for the Bears, and people would say, hey, I think you messed that one up. And I go, no, his name is Ethan Bear, and he plays for the Hershey Bears. Much easier now that he plays for the Islanders. An assist already tonight for Ethan Bear. Stumbling is Cam Berg, but he'll safely play one at the top of his net. Flipped out by Ethan Bear. Tanner Howe going to get control of it and levy it in the direction of Sebastian Aho. Aho's aerial pass, nicely knocked down by Phil Kemp. Sent through center. Imama charges after it, but Bear plugs him up. Now Foodie in front of the Islanders bench. Competing with Calvert. Knocks it free for Dalen Kiefler. Hops around Kemp. Lost the puck in the corner. Sebastian Aho and Kemp go to work here. Kiefler able to squirm free with the puck. Button hooks at the right side wall. Trying to shimmy away from the sticky defense of Phil Kemp. Played to the point. Bear gets it back to Kiefler. His shot whistles wide. Now Koivunen on his backhand. Looked over his shoulder. Found Melvin Fernstrom. Dances onside. Trying to turn Bear inside out. Fernstrom backpedals. Gives it to Dumba breaking in. But Liam Foodie came out with the stick check. Now he'll airmail it to the far blue line. Pierrick Dubé will settle that one down. Return to Foodie. Checked off the puck. Penguins with it. Going to be reversed behind the Wilkes-Barre Scranton net to Matt Dumba. Slick moves by Melvin Fernstrom, not only to collect the pass, but then get around Ethan Bear. There just wasn't a lane to the net. And Bridgeport, to their credit, did a good job backtracking there to make sure Dumba wouldn't be able to waltz down Main Street as the trailer. 3 minutes left here in the first. 2-0 lead for Bridgeport. Joey Larson from the right dot has a shot blocked by the Pens and goes screaming out of play. Pietila checks the durability of his stick after blocking that one. He doesn't like the way things look on that lumber. He'll be able to get a replacement from the equipment staff. Penguins going with 5 new skaters here for this defensive zone faceoff. Fans trying to rally this Penguin squad here late in the first period. Try to get something before the first intermission. We're hearing from some of our pals at the Tombihana Army Depot in the upcoming intermission report. Penguins win the faceoff. Joona Kolpinen, he's been money at the dot so far in this one, helping to usher this one to the far blue line. Handled by Isaiah George, OHL champion in his last season of junior hockey with the London Knights. Kolpinen surfs through center, taps it to the right. Now Hallander wrenches it back to the point, and a shoulder save by Smith on Bricky. Rebound, they score! Philip Hallander punches in the loose puck. And welcome back, young man. Penguins pull within one with 2:34 left in this first period. Hallander's first goal since returning from an extended months-long absence due to a blood clot in his leg. The drive by Bricky stopped, but then the rebound right for the pick-in for Philip Hallander. You could see just the conglomeration of bodies around the crease, but it came right to number 11 in black and gold. Return for the Penguins on Wednesday. That was a road game. This is his first game back in Northeast Pennsylvania since March 29th, 2023. A lot of people here in this region were excited to see Philip Hallander skate again here in this building, and well, early dividends for Hallander, and of course those many fans came here to cheer him on. 2-1, Bridgeport still leads. Puck was thrown out of play promptly after the Hallander goal. Listening this face-off right in front of the Penguins bench. 6th shot of the period results in the first goal of the game for Wilkes-Barre Scranton. Shots are 8-6 in favor of the Islanders. Narrow edge in shots and the edge on the scoreboard for the visiting Isles. Joey Larson, played his college hockey at Michigan State. Threads one ahead, led Thiesing too far, but Thiesing beats out the icing call. As Bobby Day is announcing the Philip Hallander goal. Assist by Scooter Bricky, I'm sure.
Bricky. And number 15, Joona Koppanen. Time of the goal, 17:26. Penguins goal scored by Hallander from Bricky and Koppanen at 17:26.
So Bricky's first game back after a brief ECHL assignment, gets his second assist of the season. And good to see Joona Koppanen rewarded for all the work that he's put in just in this first period alone. Penguins shut down the cycle of Maggio. Burrows, short pass to Hayes. Ian McCrory trying to throw it deep. They got blocked twice, but now Tristan Burrows will finish the job. 1:20 left before the first intermission. Gauthier, former first-round draft pick, crashes into the boards against Dumba, who was taken 7th overall in 2012, Matt Dumba. Bricky trying to box out in the corner. Puck freed up for Marshall Warren. Rings it around the Penguin zone. Maggio shovels it right back behind the Penguins net, and now Dumba can grab it as the 1-minute warning is announced. Emama racing after Day. Drop to Warren, tied up by one of the referees. That buys Calvert some time to jump in there on Warren. Two teams trying to excavate it from that left side wall. Penguins pluck it free. Tanner Howe tries to drop it at the blue line. Holding it is Kemp. Shuffles it to the left. Owen Pickering with 40 seconds left in the period. Getting body positioning on him was Pierre-Eric Dubé, but Dubé can't clear. Pickering to Atlee Calvert. Rifles it in! We're tied at 2! Atlee Calvert with a target breaker! His 10th of the season comes with 31.8 left in the first. And how about this work by Pickering? He gets rubbed off the puck right there, but he doesn't quit. Howe crashes in, forces the turnover, and Pickering looks over that left shoulder, sees Atlee Calvert there at the top of the left circle, and that was the perfect angle to see that release by Calvert. How he was able to put it right under the crossbar, past the shoulder of Jeremy Smith. The pass by Pickering, and with a defender draped all over him, Calvert with that missile evens the scales. So Bridgeport had the first 2 goals in the game. Penguins respond with a pair of strikes before the first intermission even arrives. And here we go with 15 seconds left in the period. Koppanen going to try again. Well, not going to be able to make that charge to the net front. Nicely defended by Bridgeport, realizing that they need to stop the bleeding. Hallander sees a forechecker coming, will calmly tap it over to Sebastian Aho, and that'll do it for the first period here at Mohegan Arena at Casey Plaza. We mentioned Bridgeport has a knack for scoring first. Tied for the most opening goals in the league now once they drew first blood tonight. However, they also have the most losses after scoring first this season. And there you have it. The Penguins erase a 2-goal deficit with late goals by Philip Hallander and Atlee Calvert. We're dead even here at the end of 20 minutes. We're going to step aside for a real quick moment here, but that intermission report that we promised you is coming up in a jiff on your Penguins Broadcast Network.
Thank you. I'd like to welcome the following March Railway here from tonight's game. 1,315, Barstow, Family Unlimited, and Hauling and Dumpster Services, Lima, Great Dane Very University Military and Veteran Services, Domino's Pizza, NAPA, East Mazda Apartments, Exodus Public Recreation Center, Susquehanna Trailways, The Linden Group, IEDC, Local 184, Shavertown Volunteer Fire Department, Salvation Army Welfare Center, SCI Munson, SCI Waymore, Columbia County Employees, West Area Railroad Religion Christ Baptist Methodist Church, Bethany Church of Our Work, WBRLC, Wilkes-Barre Area School District, AHL Cooperative, Allied Services Integrated Health System, Lincoln Middle School PTA, Moscow Elementary Center PTA, Lehigh Valley Hospital Dixon City, Berwick Area Middle School Association, Macon Manor PTA, Heroes Barstow, Morgan Williams Friends and Family, Davis Family and Friends, King's College, Dempsey Uniform, General Dynamics, Missouri County Medical Society, Banking Corporation, Stella Systems, BNBA, Midwest High School Band, CCA Families, Good Shepherd Academy, Geisinger, Robert Lee Wilson Elementary, Beyond Behavior, Kiefer's Armenia Woodward, and NBSM Lounge, PSCA Northeastern Region, and the Bubble Lounge, AUSA. For more information on your tickets, visit WSCampus.com and stop by the Service First Flight Assistance booth. Tire Trust is open at tonight's Intermission. Stop by the table behind section 106 on the gondolas. Tires and toss them on the ice after the contest. Line your tires are great and set right bullseye and you take home $500. Tires are $1,000 release for $65 and available while supplies last. Wilkes-Barre Scranton would like to recognize the following veterans who now work around the Mohegan Arena. Richard Baker, Working, James Turner, Yes Services, John Nugent, Yes Services, Christopher O'Donnell, Avery Food and Beverage, James Beating, Command Center, Douglas Counseling Command Center, Joseph Scotia Jr., Yes Services, Thomas Wesley, Yes Services, Jeffrey Neely, Operations, Taylor Henry, Operations, and Joe Jenkins, Lighting. Thank you for your service.
From the
What are we looking at here? All right, I'm going on your time here instead of their time because things got wonky here. Yeah, thanks. Welcome back here on WILK News Radio. The Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins back out here for the second period against the Bridgeport Islanders. A 2-2 score after Bridgeport scored the first two of this game, and the Penguins volleyed back. Atlee Calvert tying the game after Philip Hallander scored his first AHL goal. Hallander's first goal since returning from a bout with blood clots discovered in his leg in early November. Hadn't played until this past Wednesday. Second period begins, and the Penguins win the face-off, trying to wrench it down to the attacking zone. It's cut off by Ethan Bear. Now the Penguins working backwards. Kemp ahead for Aiden McDonough. Slides it around the wall. Joona Koppanen on the attack. Welcome back here as we see the Penguins and Islanders have started this second period. Wrist shot by Hallander gets blocked away by the Islanders. Flipped ahead by Cam Thiesing. Terry tied up by Phil Kemp, and they're going to say that one, I think the puck may have gone out of play there off of one of the Penguins who was sitting over the end of the bench. Nonetheless, it's our first whistle of the second period, 30 seconds in. Hayes, Bros, and McGroarty back out for the black and gold. Pietola and Dumba back on the bench. Not sure if you can see on your screen there, but Owen Pickering loosening himself up here in this period, jumping up and down there on the bench. High vertical on Owen Pickering, I assure you. Got some explosiveness at the end of those legs. 6'5" defenseman. Banked off the boards by Pietola, swooping up to a Pierrick Dubé, who then blows a tire as he was trying to navigate around the Penguins' 21-year-old defenseman. Dumba ahead for Burrows to the stick of Hayes. Pitches it down the right wall. Mitchell reversed, taken away by Burrows, thrown in front. McGroarty spinning shot, never makes it on net. He'll chip it back to the blue line. Dumba faked a pass to the left, now stuffs it around the wall, ends up making its way to the left. Overskated by Pietola, but Burrows will hustle back, keep it onside. Floating shot, knocked down by Cole McWard. McWard behind his back. Travis Mitchell will roll up to this one. Former Cornell Big Red will bank one off of a teammate, making a line change, nullifying a potential icing. Pietola there to retrieve it for the Penguins. Shots were even 8 apiece after that first period. Both teams looking for the first shot of the middle frame. Koivunen knocks one down, plays it in front, but never makes it to Melvin Fernstrom. Parachuting back just in time was Alex Jeffries. Koivunen again, stapled to the boards by Sean Day. Fernstrom and Huglin end up extracting it from that pile. Cycled down to Koivunen, who's now loose and free. Runs into his teammate Huglin, turns into a turnover in high ice. 3-on-1 for Bridgeport, defended by Pickering. Shot down low, saved by Blomqvist, and he got his right leg out to stop Highmore on the rebound too. Koivunen back onside for the Penguins. Pass to Huglin, darted on net, but eaten up by Jeremy Smith. Took that one off the mask and let it fall right into his glove. Smith going to make some quick fixins to his equipment here. Jeremy Smith, an interesting career that he's led. In fact, he spent the past 6 seasons overseas, but not in the Swedish league, not in the Finnish league, not in the Swiss league. No, rather, Jeremy Smith spent the past 6 seasons in China, playing for Kunlun Red Star of the KHL. In fact, he gained Chinese citizenship, actually represented China at the 2022 Olympics. China not in this year's men's hockey tournament at the Olympics in Milan. Gold medal game coming up tomorrow between Canada and Team USA. Big boy's going to duke it out early in the morning, 8 a.m. And I'm sure just about everyone on the ice and on the benches here have their alarms set bright and early. Kick saved by Smith, denying Atlee Calvert what would have been his second goal of the night. Lob down the ice where Chris Terry gets tied up by Phil Kemp. Kemp knocks it to Tanner Howe. Thrown to center, a little back pass by Imama will allow Calvert to thread this to the side of Smith's cage. George tries to wrap it up and out. Penguins block off that path. Now Pietola slashes it to Tanner Howe from Prince Albert, Saskatchewan. Cycled behind the net, Calvert to Dumba at the blue line. Now Calvert again, backhand pass foiled by Chris Terry. Calvert and Terry remain entangled with one another. They both haul each other down to the ice. Both benches want a penalty call against the other team. Instead, the referees say continue to play on. Still, no penalty minutes accrued by either side in this one. 3+ minutes into the second period. Dumba zips it around the boards, tipped by Aiden McDonough down to the attacking zone. Smith out to play it. It's been a couple of close calls with Smith vacating his crease to play the puck so far in this one. Now a slap shot by Pietola, kicked away by Smith. McDonough knifes it in the direction of Koponen, broken up by Warren, bounces out to Aiden McDonough. McDonough to the point, Pietola's shot tipped into the air, falls back into play, left corner. Day and Koponen cancel one another out. Played up the boards by Warren and bottled up there by Chase Pietola. McDonough finishes his check on Marshall Warren in the corner, much to the appreciation of this crowd. Dumba leaps into the air, gloves it down. Got a touch of it too so that it wouldn't be a hand pass, but now Berg is going to march it out across the red line. Dump and change for Bridgeport. Penguins also trying to get a fresh set of legs out here. Here's Avery Hayes. Pass to McGroarty. What a collection off of his skate. Now thrown in front. Pardon me, that was Tristan Burrows with the nice collection. Nevertheless, Penguins back on side. Pickering thought about jumping up. Now he'll backpedal. Good decision as he chopped that one away from McWard. Foodie has it, backhanded on net, easily gathered by Joel Blomqvist. Minor stare down behind the Penguins net after the fact, but nothing else going to brew up. Blomqvist paying it no mind. just hands off the puck to the linesman. Tristan Bros taking the face-off, giving out directions to his teammates, making sure everybody knows how Bridgeport's lined up here. You can see Dubé lined up behind their centerman. Dubé with a heavy wrist shot. Doesn't need much to get a lot on those drives. This one will knuckle on net. Blomqvist, instead of covering it, leaves it free to Pickering. Penguins pitch it out. McRory trying to get a beat on it. Slaps it away from Mitchell, but then ultimately pounced upon by Jeremy Smith. Some more shoves exchanged after the fact. Hayes and Mitchell resume their little tete-a-tete as McRory's in there as well. Bros trying to play a bouncer on the outside as the linesmen grapple with Hayes and Mitchell, separate those two. We know Avery Hayes can throw him, that's for sure. We said before he's not one to shy away from a scrap, but dropped the gloves in the Penguins' last home game on Sunday against Zach Aston Reese. Big bombs delivered by Hayes in that fight. Last year, we saw him scrap with Dylan Robrick of the Hartford Wolfpack, who stands at 6'8". And Avery Hayes is the one who invited that fight. Ate some punches in that one, but proved that he fears no man with the 5'10" Hayes going up against the towering Dylan Robrick. After he left the penalty box in that third period, Avery Hayes, he scored the overtime game-winning goal that punched the Penguins their ticket to the Calder Cup playoffs. Avery Hayes already just so good, so formidable, but you make him angry, and really does seem to elevate his game on top of that. There's Koivunen passing to Fernstrom. His shot blocked. Ricochets in the direction of Alex Jeffries, who's shadowed nicely by Phil Kemp. Aho with it now. Sebastian Aho looking for Aaron Huglin. Off the heel of his stick towards Smith's net. Leaves his crease, plays it over to George. George tied up, but dropped it over to Jeffries, who will reverse behind the goal. Bear has an open man in Matthew Highmore. Pass deflected, glances off the shoulder of Koivunen, back for George to pick it up. Made his NHL debut last season with the New York Islanders' Isaiah George. Split the season between Bridgeport and Long Island. Now the puck going to be heaved back to the Penguin zone, but Highmore was nowhere near center red, so an easy icing call made by these officials. Pietila sauntering towards the offensive zone here. Huddle forms around Atlee Calvert. Going to take this draw with Tanner Howe to his left and Boko Imama on his right. Right-hand shooting Atlee Calvert going up against the lefty Matthew Highmore at the right side of the offensive zone. Won cleanly by Calvert. Dumba knocks it down, giving it Pietila. Pass over to the right boards. No one there for the Penguins. Kind of turns into a play forced behind the net. Howe knocked down. Pietila soccers away the clear from Jeffries. Imama now tied up along the board. Straight back to Pietila again. Lifts one wide of the goal. Beckman drops it to George. Sees Imama creeping in. Gets rid of it in a hurry. Does George. Now it's going to be chipped ahead to Matthew Highmore. To Isaiah George once more. The Beckman off of his stick. And stays in play. Fans went ducking for cover, but clock keeps on ticking here at Mohegan Arena at Casey Plaza. 2-2. Our score here in the second period. Bridgeport scored the first two goals of the night. Wilkes-Barre Scranton tallied twice before the first intermission. Here comes Gauthier with a hard shot, but it sizzles off the skates of Dumba and sends us to a commercial break. Shots even 10-10, score still tied 2-2 on your Penguins broadcast network. So plenty of time left to go here in this middle frame. Neither team scoring during this second period yet. Bridgeport scored its 2 goals, minute and 49 seconds apart. Penguins scored their goals 2 minutes and 3 seconds apart. So offenses come in quick succession whenever it does crop up. We'll see if that pattern continues throughout the rest of this one. Stalemate on the face-off, but with a little bit extra elbow grease. Joona Koppanen will play that backwards to Owen Hickering. Got an assist on the Penguins' tying goal, bringing him up to 21 points on the season. McDonough nudges it down to the left corner. Eats a check from Marshall Warren. Nudged it loose, however, it's going to be Day trying to break it out to Maggio. Converged on by Bricky. Day going to have to try again. Turned it over behind the net. Koppanen's pass in front. Couldn't be collected by Philip Hallander. But a great poke check at the blue line by Pickering will keep Wilkes-Barre Scranton in the offensive zone. Bridgeport thought they were going to have a rush up ice. They had to go all the way back behind their net for that puck. Now it's a more traditional dump and chase here for the Islanders. In fact, they'll make a line change. New skaters hop over the boards as Cole McWard handles the mail back at the top of the circles in his end. Short pass to Alex Jeffries, former Merrimack Warrior. Circumnavigating the Penguin zone. Pitches it to the left point. Mitchell shot, blocked by Sebastian Aho. Falls down now for Joey Larson. His drive then blocked by Phil Kemp. Slid out with one knee down on the ice. Kick save, if you will, by Kemp. Bridgeport quickly back in the attacking zone. Terry gonna play it down the boards. Blomqvist out of his net to handle. Aho ahead for Hayes. Sporked off of his stick by McWard. Now Terry lost his balance, toe picked, and goes face first into the boards. Aho makes sure Terry's okay. Now one of the Penguins gets table-topped over there. That was Sebastian Aho. Now Terry falls over again. Larson without his helmet. It's Keystone Cops down there in the Penguin zone. Finally, Terry and Aho both back to their feet. Aho's going to return to the Penguins bench as a lead pass for Dubé winds up behind the Penguins net. Blomqvist quickly carousels it over to Pietila. Drop to Burrows. Now it's McRourty trying to slap it deep. Plugged up by Bridgeport. Liam Foudy has his puck up in the air. Knocked down by Pietila. More players fall down as breaking up ice here is Ville Koivunen, and Burrows unable to angle it to him. Tried the geometrical pass off the boards, but as it hit the wall, it got some air underneath it. So it goes over the stick of Koivunen, results in an icing call. Ville Koivunen, also milestone night for him, 100th career AHL game. His 99th AHL contest featured 2 goals against the Springfield Thunderbirds, bringing him up to 15 points in his last 10 games, 29 points in 23 AHL games this season. So smart, offensively gifted, just a real sense of how things are going to shake out, whether he has the puck on his stick or he's the guy awaiting a pass. Now we're going to see gloves drop here. Kiefler and Burrows start swinging. Burrows lost his balance trying to get back to his feet. Kiefler just grappling, and now the linesman's going to step in before any more punches get thrown. The referee had his arm up. There was already going to be a penalty called, but Kiefler and Burrows wanted to make sure they got their money's worth. 5 for fighting, sure to come, and now it's just a matter of what the initial penalty was going to be. Tristan Burrows and Dalen Kiefler. You could see him away from the puck getting at it. Even Koivunen trying to set a pick there, but Burrows said, no, that's my guy, I want him. You can see Burrows trying to get back to his feet. The linesmen were going to let them continue to fight, but Kiefler just kind of holding Burrows down. No more punches exchanged after that. So we waited almost half the game for the first penalty to be called. And it's going to be fighting majors for Kiefler and Burrows. However, Chase Pietila also brought to the box. So the extra penalty is going against Wilkes-Barre Scranton. Kiefler looking over, 2 Penguins on that right side of the box. So the Penguins to the Price Chopper Market 32 penalty kill. Bridgeport getting the first power play of the night. Their man advantage, 16.6%, 24th in the league. Penguins penalty kill. It's been in a free fall as of late. still 80.8% on the year. Penguins win the draw, and they're going to challenge Bridgeport shorthanded here. Penguins have 5 shorties this season. Owen Pickering carrying it coast to coast. Didn't get the pass out in front, but did kill some time. Now the Penguins hustle on the back check. There's a rink-wide pass. Gets settled down by Julien Gauthier. Laid backwards to Ethan Bear. Quarterbacking this unit, renders it to Dubé. Bumped in front, Terry couldn't control, and the Penguins clear. Iedela got called for cross-checking. That's the extra penalty that has the Penguins on the kill right now. Bear drops it back to Adam Beckman. Lost it for a moment, then reeled it back in. Thrusts it around the boards. Dubé flicks it from the right to the left. Avery Hayes tied up with Terry. Wins that puck forward for Rucker McCrory. Challenged Bear one-on-one, but McCrory lost his stick after the poke check came out from Ethan Bear. Beckman pass into the slot. Gauthier wires it wide. Little deflection there by the Penguins, but Bridgeport going to set up shop again. 54 seconds left in the power play. Gauthier to Terry on the left. Chop back to Bear at the blue line. Return to Terry. Wrist shot off the shin guards of Dumba. Collected by Bear. Beckman, Bear again. Slap shot, kick save by Blomqvist. Race forward at the wall. Hayes gets to it first and is going to catapult it all the way down. Penguins change. 4 new penalty killers come out with a half-minute remaining on this Price Chopper Market 32 penalty kill. Marshall Warren had the puck briefly dislodged from his possession by Tanner Howe, but now gets it safely to the speedy Liam Foodie. Turns it on between the blue lines. Leaves it for Larson. Now drop back to the blue line for Marshall Warren. D-to-D pass. That's Matthew Maggio creeping down from the point and down into the right corner. Elevated back to Warren. Maggio again in the slot. Wanted Jeffries. Tipped away by the Penguins. Tanner Howe getting his stick on it. Islanders reel it in again. Warren, big slapper. Save made. Rebound. Poked at by Foodie, but sat upon by Blomqvist. And that's just as Biedela steps out after serving his 2-minute minor for cross-checking. Penguins survive the kill, and we're still tied 2-2 on your Penguins Broadcast Network. Penguins survive the first penalty kill of the night. Tristan Brose and Dalen Kiefler still serving a 5-minute penance for their fighting majors. So the Penguins without their 2026 All-Star. Quick rush, it's Calvert down the slot, backhand shot stopped by Smith. Penguins almost with instant offense coming off of that penalty kill, but their first lead of the night is going to have to wait. Aho with some shifty moves in the corner. Propels it forward for Boko Imama. Montreal, Quebec native. Rebuffed by Highmore. Highmore will sling this down into the Penguin zone. Another big kick off those end boards. That's how Bridgeport scored its second goal of the evening. Instead, this time the puck's going to be picked up by Aho. Tapped ahead to Atlee Calvert. Throws it to the cross corner. McWard eats a check from Koivunen, but got it safely into the hands of Alex Jeffries. Jeffries skates in front of Kiefler, sitting in the penalty box, eases it down to the Penguin zone. Blomqvist going to try to half-pipe it up the wall, but it came right to Chris Terry. Cycle back behind the Penguins net. Dumba got there before Thiesing, but Thiesing won't let it loosen out of the Penguin zone. Biedela charges after Terry. gives a shoulder to him. Now Larson, pass in front, wired wide by Thiesing. George propels it down low. Thiesing shovels it to Chris Terry, trying to force it in front to Larson. Penguins won't let it through. Imama calming things down here for Wilkes-Barre Scranton. Reverses to Chase Bietola. Fernstrom comes out now as Bietola is taking his time behind the Penguins' net. Imama replaced by Hallander, who stands at the far blue line. Finally, Bietola creeps out from behind the cage. Short exchange to Melvin Fernstrom from Bolstad, Sweden. Slings it over to the left. Wanted Dumba, couldn't corral it. Numbers the other way for Bridgeport, but great stuff there by Philip Hallander on the back check. Shuts it down before it even got started. Bridgeport going to try again. Julien Gauthier sprays ice as he stops on a dime at the right wall. Played to the left. Travis Mitchell picks it up off the boards, flicks it down below the goal line. Cam Berg for Gauthier. Back to Berg. Walks behind the Penguins' net. Fires back to the blue line for Mitchell. Stutter steps. Doesn't want to shoot. He'll zip it around the boards. Berg with it again. Now at the right corner. Cam Berg brings it over to the left corner. Mitchell engages in the offense. These two have been going back and forth with the puck for a while. Now they're going to try to let someone else play with it. It's going to be Owen Pickering snagging it now for the Pens. Hallander plays it to the right, but Fernstrom was in a line change. Didn't want to play the puck. Avery Hayes would have been called for too many men on the ice. Shrewd stuff by Hayes. Now he can properly rejoin the action. Gives a little hip check to Mitchell in the corner, but Bridgeport plays it up their right wing wall. Matthew Maggio pulls it in. Leading goal scorer in the OHL several seasons ago. Another season here with the Islanders, Maggio. Draft pick by New York Islanders to be specific. I suppose you do have to make sure you have that straightened out, not the Rangers. Icing called here against the Penguins with 6:46 left in what's been a scoreless second period. Sebastian Aho having a quick chat with Pierre Dubé. Those two didn't play together on Bridgeport, but Aho started his AHL career as a member of the Bridgeport Sound Tigers. He's quick to point out to people he wasn't an Islander, he was a Sound Tiger. An AHL All-Star in each of his 3 seasons with Bridgeport. Sebastian Aho also logged 190 games in the NHL with the New York Islanders. Funnily enough, Sebastian Aho, of his 5 points with Wilkes-Barre Scranton this season, 4 of them have been against his old team, Bridgeport. Face-off won by the Isles. Warren misfired the first time, then got the second try through, but it's just a kick save for Joel Blomqvist. Sebastian Aho's only goal as a Penguin came against Bridgeport earlier this season. Beckman flutters one to the left corner. Cycle down for Matthew Highmore. Long time in this league. Exchanges with Beckman. Shot on goal. Stopped by Blomqvist. Rebound finds its way back to Day at the left point. Wheeled behind the goal to Beckman. In front, Jeffrey. Stick lifted by McCrory, and the puck splits between the two Bridgeport defenders. They'll have to regroup in their own zone. Day's long pass. Right on the money for Jeffries, but Beckman's entry thwarted at first by Sebastian Aho. Knocked ahead by the Penguins. You have McGroarty across the red line. Fires deep, goes to the bench for a change. Howe charging in like a wrecking ball. Warren accepts that hit. Played it ahead to Cam Thiesing. Now across the defensive zone by Bridgeport. Beckman going to shovel it down to the Penguin zone. Kemp contending with a hard forecheck there by Pierre Dubé, but Dubé lost his stick. Now the Penguins skate the other way. Once again, it's Atlee Calvert onside. Slows up, wrist shot, and Smith with another save. Howe crashing the crease, forces 2 Islanders back there with him, and now we're seeing things get minorly feisty again, not quite to the degree that we saw Kiefler and Bros boil things up, drop the gloves for a fight. Looks like they're ready to leave the penalty box, but they can't play until after this break on your Penguins Broadcast Network. great crowd on hand here for Military Appreciation Night presented by MetLife. Always the case year over year. Number of home games left this season, however, is dwindling, folks. Don't miss your chance to see this Penguins team in action. Next home game is going to be this upcoming Wednesday against the Springfield Thunderbirds as a shot by Hallander gets tipped wide. Already scored earlier in this one. Hallander controls again at the left board. Cycled down to Wilkes-Barre. It's chipped away from Joona Koppanen, but a great read by Dumba keeps things on side. Whip to Koppanen at the point. Dishes over to the left. There's Pietila. Whisks it to Hallander. Tried to return it to Pietila. Instead it gets bounced to Dumba. Lost it. Terry passes ahead to Cam Thiesing. Dumba getting into position defensively. Thiesing wanted another return pass to Chris Terry. That's snuffed out by Filip Hallander. 25 years old, Filip Hallander came here to Northeast Pennsylvania to join the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins at the 2021-22 season. Even though there were full crowds back in the stands, it was still a weird time, some lingering COVID restrictions. Played 2 seasons here, then went back to Sweden for the past 2 years. Tore it up with his hometown club Timrå. Now his return to North America. Pickering, shot tipped wide by Bridgeport. Sliced out to center by Dalen Kiefler. Now laid ahead, wanted Foudy, did Eric Dubé, but Owen Pickering got in the way. Pickering doing a great job protecting that puck, but he'll reverse it up to an open area, the Penguins' own. Bridgeport on it, shot from the point, stopped by Blomqvist, trying to clamp down on it, and he does. Late whistle there, but Blomqvist able to freeze the puck. Now Kiefler once again getting nasty with some of the Penguins. You can see Kiefler trying to get out of there against Bricky. Can't fight twice in the same game or else he'll get ejected. Bricky already with an assist in this one. Picked up 3 points in a recent 2-game stint with the Penguins ECHL affiliate, the Wheeling Nailers. Scooter Bricky. He's going to be reeled back to the bench. Wholesale change here for the Penguins ahead of this defensive zone draw. Puck drop to the left of Blomqvist, and it's Calvert at the dot. Tie up on the faceoff. Aho comes in to help the Penguins secure the puck. Fluttered out through center. Tanner Howe sachets around Mitchell. Slaps it down the right wall. McWard back there. Back to Travis Mitchell. Towards the blue line, just across the line as Kemp will pound it back to the attacking zone. Penguins had to tag up on the delay offside. They say they didn't do so completely, so Amama has to peel off. Meanwhile, Howe gets his stick out there, denies the pass from Gauthier. Howe onside, wrist shot blocked, rebound, they score! It's Sebastian Aho! His second goal is a Penguin, and they're both against his old club in Bridgeport. And now the Penguins have a 3-2 lead. Tanner Howe stole it away in the neutral zone, walks in, his shot blocked by Mitchell, but comes right back to Aho. And Smith, oh, he's looking to the heavens after that one. He's trying to move post to post to cover as much net as he can, but when he does so, he inadvertently opens up the 5-hole for that puck to sneak through. Aho, who celebrated his 30th birthday earlier this week. Welcome to the club. Gets his second goal of the year and his 196th AHL game. He's only played for Bridgeport and Wilkes-Barre Scranton. And man, he continues to torment his old team this year. 5 of his 6 points on the season coming against the Islanders. Now the Penguins will see how they handle playing from ahead the first time tonight. They were down by 2, now scoring 3 straight. Pietila throws it to center, knocked down by Sean Day. 3:12 left to go here in the period. Boko Imama credited with the secondary assist. Beckman tried a shifty pass through the slot. Aaron Huglin having none of that. Wouldn't let it through to Alex Jeffries. McDonough roars up to it. Left it for Melvin Bernstrom, who will twist it down the Bridgeport territory. Smith leaves it behind his goal for Marshall Warren. Long Island, New York native who appeared in his first NHL game earlier this year for the New York Islanders. Marshall Warren stands pensively behind his goal. Now passes the baton to Cam Thiesing. Gains center red, plays it deep. Blomqvist stops the puck, laid on its side. Now he'll ringing around the boards, not out. Ethan Bear traps it at the right point. His shot deflected over the Penguins' goal, arches down to the left side corner. Pickering trying to throw a little reverse hit there into Larson, buys enough space for Koponen to drop it back to Bricky. Now it's tossed by Hallander across the blue line to Koponen, in front to a man crashing the crease, goes up a Larson skate, and Smith had to react fast, preventing an own goal there from giving the Penguins a 2-goal edge. Now Burrows gloves one out of the air, knocked it forward. Now a diving play by Ville Koivunen fails to keep things onside. Aho tracks it down back in the Penguin zone. Kemp back to Sebastian Aho. Burrows ran into the linesman there at the blue line, and it also drew things offside. Tristan Burrows letting Bill Lyons know he didn't exactly like that. 1:52 showing on the clock here after that whistle. You can get your hands on these military night jerseys. The auctions are live now on the Dash Auction app. Scan the QR code at the bottom of your screen. You can jump in there. If you like the Sebastian Aho jersey, throw in your bid. You want the Avery Hayes, you want the Tristan Burrows, here's the deal. You just got to pick that player's jersey. All of those military appreciation night jerseys at the Dash Auction app. Going on throughout the game. Bridgeport trying to equalize before the intermission. Remember, it was the Penguins tying the game with 38 seconds left in the first period, but Aho is going to get out of a jam here. Strong edge work behind the Penguins net. Hoisted all the way down the ice. Icing washed out as Smith dropped his paddle out, left it to a defender. Now Kiefler chops it to Liam Foudy. Foudy slows up, tries to escape. Penguins unable to chop that out to the neutral zone. It's Bridgeport keeping the play alive here. Kiefler walks up to the right point, throws it board to board. Now Mitchell taps it backwards to Foudy. Shot blocked, almost careened right to Travis Mitchell. And he's ultimately tied up by Dumba. Pietala on his backhand, shuffles it to Rucker McRory. Fires it up into the feet of Avery Hayes. Looking at Smith, wrist shot, gloved down by the Isles goalie. And Hayes makes sure to do a flyby around the crease to make sure the whistle would blow. And that Smith wouldn't drop the puck out and start a rush the other way for Bridgeport. 55.3 left here in the second period. Jeremy Smith, former Charlotte Checker. Mentioned that he's a journeyman here. He wasn't anywhere before he signed with the Bridgeport Islanders midway through this season. Posted a shutout in his first game with Bridgeport. .943 save percentage in 3 games coming into this one. But the Penguins have beaten him 3 times on 17 bids. Gauthier testing Bricky, cuts in front but falls over. And no shot comes from Julien Gauthier. Now a spinning try by Bridgeport, blocked by Calvert, and Mama with a stiff shove there to Matthew Maggio after he failed to get that shot through. One of the Penguins lost their stick, that's Bricky, reaches down to grab it as one comes from Warren, high and wide. Day creeps down from the blue line, plays it from the right corner over to the left. Calvert steps in front of number 14, Cam Berg, and then promptly gets tied up along the boards along with Tanner Howe. Calvert trying to lift it up high and out, wouldn't go. Warren keeps it in play. Blomqvist uses his glove to point Pickering over to the corner. To the right of the Penguins' cage, you have Tanner Howe snapping it away from Maggio and just waiting out those final seconds behind the Penguins' net. Wilkes-Barre Scranton gets the only goal of that second period, and that pushes them into a 3-2 lead. Sebastian Aho, the goal scorer for Wilkes-Barre Scranton, at 16:14 of that second period. Tanner Howe with 2 assists tonight for the Penguins as well, so it's back-to-back multi-point games for the 20-year-old rookie, and the Penguins have 20 more minutes to try to close things out. We'll be back with another intermission report for you here on your Penguins Broadcast Network.
fans, please welcome Brian to the ice for tonight's tire toss.
Thanks, Bobby. It is time for our tire toss here tonight. It's one of the best events we have here at the Pens. Your goal, okay? Your goal is to be the closest to the middle. If you are the closest, you are going to sign up. Awesome. But it gets even better than that. If you get right in the middle on tops,
How are we on timing here? Okay. There's a chance TV beats you back from break, but I'll keep you posted if you have to move a 30 or something to the post game. We'll try to do the best we can. Thanks. Actually, I think we're going to time this up perfectly. Yeah, we just got 1 minute here, so you might have to run the music bed a little bit, but we'll be good. Third period action between the Penguins and Islanders, just less than a half minute away here. Penguins up 3-2. Go-ahead goal by Sebastian Aho that period. Penguins are loving it. They're feeling good about themselves coming into this final frame. Bridgeport going to bring their very best, you would expect. A team that's played much better in recent weeks under new head coach Rocky Thompson. Took over at the start of this year, did Rocky Thompson. They've picked up points in 13 of their last 17. They came from behind to lose in a shootout against Springfield yesterday. We'll see if the Penguins can get this one across the finish line. Final frame begins with a face-off win by Wilkes-Barre Scranton. They've won the opening puck drop all 3 times in this game. They go to work on the forecheck. Jeremy Smith played it over to Ethan Bear, but the Penguins swarm, prevent the escape on the first try by Bridgeport. Second effort initially stymied by the Penguins, but eventually Chris Terry gets it out. Penguins volley it right back in. George, backhands for Ethan Bear. Now up the wall, Cam Thiesing. Reaching out is Tristan Burrows, trying to wrench it away from the Isles, but they're able to escape their end. 3-on-2 rush, pass in front by Terry, intercepted by Matt Dumba. Now McCrory up for Avery Hayes, trying to bank it backwards for Burrows. Travis Mitchell, however, will reach out with his stick, steer it away from Burrows. Mitchell, head up, banks it off the wall to Kiefler. Saw Dumba coming at the last second, and Kiefler able to pull up and get out of dodge. If Dumba knows he can catch you looking the wrong way, he's not afraid to step up for punishing open ice hits. He's been doing it his whole career, and he showcased that a couple times here with Wilkes-Barre Scranton. Meanwhile, the Penguins blocked off on their zone entry, brings Bridgeport back ahead, saved by Blomqvist, and then Bricky able to chase Liam Foudy behind the net so he doesn't get a crack at the rebound. At center, Ville Koivunen, his 100th AHL game, passes to Koponen, collects it off of his skate, looks over his right shoulder, doesn't see a trailer coming immediately, so he'll whip it back down to Ville Koivunen. To the point, Bricky, slap shot goes screaming over the net. McDonough seizes it behind the cage, back to the blue line for Bricky. Wrist shot, tipped wide, bounces in front, McDonough then denied by Smith. Penguins almost with their 3rd rebound goal tonight, but Smith would not yield. Penguins quickly transition back onside. Ville Koivunen pulls the trigger, blocked by Bridgeport. Caught Warren in an awkward spot. Koivunen signals to the referee for a stoppage. They're going to get that. Training staff for Bridgeport's going to run out here for Marshall Warren. Koivunen's wrist shot hit the stick of Marshall Warren, rode up his blade and caught him either in the chin or neck area. Warren clearly in some distress, but able to get up under his own power and is going to go back to the Islanders locker room with the help of athletic trainer John Geller. Referee's trying to decide where the face-off should go here. Hopefully Marshall Warren hasn't sustained too bad of a blow there. Played his college hockey at Boston College, and then 1 year at the University of Michigan, where he was a teammate of Rutger McGroarty. Originally drafted by the Minnesota Wild in the 6th round of the 2019 NHL entry draft. Comes to the Islanders organization, like we said back in the second period, able to make his NHL debut for his hometown team earlier this year. Also selected to the AHL All-Star Classic this year, Marshall Warren. Aho going to tip one up into the air. Jeffries still will plunge it back to the Penguin zone. Kemp races back for it. Captain of the Penguins chips it off the boards and trickles wide of Smith's net for an icing call here against the Penguins. Mentioned before that Philip Hallander celebrated his 30th birthday earlier this week. The Penguins about to go on a huge run of birthdays, but first let's look at the unfortunate souls who are out today for the Penguins on the Geisinger Sports Medicine injury report. Ryan McAllister and Zach Gallant injured in one of the Penguins games right before the AHL All-Star break. They're both day-to-day with upper body injuries. And you have Rivas Ansons, who is week-to-week sidelined with an upper body injury. Melvin Fernstrom will turn 20 on the 28th. Phil Kemp turned 27 earlier this month. Joona Koppanen turns 28 on the 25th. February, a popular month for birthdays in the Penguins locker room. Make sure to send your well wishes. Icing going to be called here against Bridgeport. Joona Koppanen, or pardon me, not Joona Koppanen. Joel Blomqvist, his fellow Finn, going to take a little stroll around his zone. Native Finland won bronze today at the Winter Olympics in Milan, men's hockey. Lost to Team Canada in a heartbreaker for Team Finland. Late regulation goal allowed after they had a 2-0 lead. Penguins were watching that game, of course, very closely, very animatedly, very passionately after their practice yesterday here at Mohegan Arena at Casey Plaza. Shot blocked by Smith. Now Howe will send it down low to Atlee Calvert. A pair of Saskatchewan boys hoping that Canada takes home gold tomorrow. Throws it back to Matt Tumba from Regina, Saskatchewan. Now it's Calvert trying to power his way past Cole McWard. No quarter given by the former Calder Cup champion last year. And Mama slides it around the Bridgeport zone. Day cuts him off back there, and now McWard handles the mail. Sent to center, knocked out of midair by Tanner Howe, and a check by Pietila. An extra shove to Beckman sends him back to the Bridgeport bench. Imama creep back behind the Penguins net and leave it there for Pietila. Penguins in no hurry here, controlling a 1-goal lead. 3.5 minutes played so far here in the third. Pietila sends this one hard around the boards. It's going to be Gauthier reversing it back behind his own net to Mitchell, pushed back up the wall. Berg tied up at first by Bricky, but the puck still thrown down to the Penguins zone. Gauthier racing after it. Blomqvist juts out from his crease and slaps it away from danger. Crowd hungry for more as Avery Hayes approaches Ethan Bear. Bear does a good job shielding that puck. Pickering passes rink wide. Avery Hayes down the right wing. Pass into the slot intended for McGroarty, broken up by Mitchell, who will tie that puck up along the right side corner boards. Both teams fidgeting for it, eventually milled loose by Burrows. Point pass, never makes it back to Scooter Bricky at the right side of the blue line. Berg with it again. Runs right into Tristan Burrows. Avery Hayes will knife the puck forward to himself. Stick check there on Mitchell, trying to open up a shooting lane. Backhander steered wide of the net. Back check came from Thiesing. How about the shifty stuff there? Heady stuff by Avery Hayes there. You could see him, while not losing control of the puck, knock the stick of Travis Mitchell out of the way. Now offside, going to be ruled against Wilkes-Barre Scranton. As Bros will rejoin his line mates McGroarty and Hayes back on the bench. Shirley as Koivunen come out here with Hallander and Koppanen. Penguins have won 16 of their last 18 games against Bridgeport, trying to improve to 5-0 in this year's season series. Penguins went 5-1 against the Isles last year. Their only loss here at home. There's Kemp with a slapper, tipped over the net. Smith went up reaching for it, didn't need to get a piece of it though, as it arched behind his net. Philip Hallander, I believe, getting the last piece of that one. Absconding with it was Cam Thiesing. A trickler to the side of the Penguins net. Kemp drops it. Wanted Hallander, but wasn't there. Thiesing comes swooping in. Penguins on the breakout. Joona Koppanen has it wrenched out of his possession by Thiesing. And then Koppanen made sure to respond with a stick lift on Thiesing's release. Larson, left corner, banks it down to Cam Thiesing. Hallander shaken free from by Thiesing. Stuff shot in tight, denied by Blomqvist. Puck still free atop the crease. Eventually taken away from danger by Hallander, but not cleared all the way out. And then a poke check by Ville Koivunen, steals it from McWard. That'll shovel it across the blue line at the very least. Thiesing will dump, send a dribbler to Blomqvist crease, and he'll slap it to the side for Matt Dumba. Now McDonough gaining speed through the neutral zone. Blue line to blue line on his backhand. Stops on a dime. Back for Dumba. Slap shot save. Rebound stopped by Smith too. Turning aside, Melvin Fernstrom on the doorstep. Hayden McDonough turning on the turbo through the neutral zone. Eventually dropping it back to the defender Dumba, who cranked it as hard as he could. Smith had the first save and the second one too on Melvin Fernstrom. Fernstrom staying out here with Hughlin and McDonough. McDonough, the hard stick check to Mitchell, helps the Penguins win the faceoff. Dumba's wrist shot, stop, puck still free in front, eventually fallen on by Smith. Once again, a rebound there for the black and gold that they just can't force across the goal line. Smith finds it. Credit to Bridgeport's defense for boxing out in front, tying up the legs of Hughlin and McDonough. Hughlin stays out here to take another faceoff with Fernstrom to his left and McDonough on his right. 24-year-old rookie Aaron Hughlin can't secure this puck drop for the Penguins. Dubé walking out with it. Pass to the neutral zone, couldn't be found by Bear. Penguins flip it right back into the attacking zone. George spins away from Fernstrom. A one-handed stick check by the rookie, jars it free. Bear has to come back and help. His pass off the skates of McDonough. Tried to cycle down for Aaron Hughlin. Bear cut it off. Almost caught the referee in the line of fire. However, that feed by Bear makes it to George. Scored it through center. Kiefler throws it on net. Palmed out of the air by the glove of Joel Blomqvist. Left in the field of play as Boko Imama is going to charge ahead now. Imama to Tanner Howe. 2 assists tonight for Howe, but couldn't collect that pass. McWard touches it up to Matthew Highmore, former Rockford Ice Hog, with a wrist shot off the shoulder of Joel Blomqvist, falls behind his net. Kicked up the wall by Bricky. Imama can't clear it past McWard. Pass across to Mitchell, shot into the body of his teammate Highmore. Pitches it back out to the perimeter. McWard to the right for Beckman. Back to Cole McWard, breaks his stick on the slap shot, and the Penguins rush the other way. Atlee Calvert swings it through the legs of McWard to Boko Imama, then his shot wouldn't go. Back behind the play, you have Highmore. He has a stick caught in his visor. One of the Penguins' stick got trapped in the mask of Highmore, who slams the stick off the boards. Meanwhile, play continues here as Hayes cycles down low for Rucker McCroarty. Tries to backhand it to the point, gets tipped out of play onto the Sean Hines Memorial tarp. That shields the visitors from getting any rowdy fans from pestering them on the way back to their locker room. Fan will pick the puck up off the tarp and celebrates with his fellow Penguins fans on his souvenir. Still a 3-2 lead for the Penguins. We'll be right back on your Penguins Broadcast Network.
Great job, Mark. We're going to send it back to Bobby and Luke. Before we do Pens, let's get out and grab. Let's hear it. Let's go Pens on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Face off the left-hand side of the attacking zone for Bros, Hayes and McRourty. Pitch backwards to Sebastian Aho. Pass back in front. Just missed his D partner Kemp. And now here come the Islanders. Odd man rush with Hayes, the defender. Slides out to Xavier Hayes, but the pass makes it to the top of the crease. Stopped by Blomqvist, and the Penguins turn it up the other way. Avery Hayes marching down the right wing. Sidesteps around Thiesing, then gives him a shoulder back for good measure. Burrows chops it to the right corner. Hayes, defended by McWard, pushes it up the boards to the point. Now McRourty, his wrist shot ensnared by Jeremy Smith. 12:04 still to go here in this third period. Smith with another save, keeping his team in it. 20 stops on 23 shots against for Smith. Keeping it just a 1-goal deficit for Bridgeport. Now Penguins will have another O-zone draw. This time it'll be at the right-hand side of the attacking zone. And the line is Koppanen, Koivunen, and Hallander. Koppanen facing off against Berg. Berg's stick snapped in half, still able to win the face-off. He tries to go to the bench for a replacement. Koivunen's path to the crease blocked off. Try to drop it for Koppanen. Picked off instead by Alex Jeffries. Day, former Syracuse Crunch, leads it out to center. Grabbed down by Hallander. Back up to Joona Koppanen, trying to split the defense around the broken stick of Berg. Curls over to the right wall. Koppanen now shovels it in the direction of Chase Pietila. Koivunen wants it. He gets it. Slap shot. Blocked by Bridgeport. Dumba races up to it. The defenseman orbiting around the net. Now leaves it for Ville Koivunen. His wrist shot rings off the crossbar. Dumba signaling like it went in, but the referee says no goal. We'll see if they go back and review that on the iPad during the break. Meanwhile, the Penguins have to play some defense here on Matthew Maggio, and Chase Pietila is happy to oblige. Turnover right atop the crease. Foudy knocked down. Now Dubé stumbles. Gets back to his feet. Pressed along the boards. Once again, it's Chase Pietila shutting things down. Koivunen throws it high into the air. Bounces behind Ethan Bear. McDonough trying to rip it on net. And Smith once again pinches his arms together. Prevents it from crossing the goal line, but now we're going to see if the referees are going to listen to the urging of the Penguins bench and review that last shot by Ville Koivunen to see if it went off the back bar instead of the crossbar. Well, it doesn't look like they are going to. Here's a look at the replay here as Koivunen sends that one up high. It was kind of behind the head from that angle of Marshall Warren. Good to see him back, so that's not particularly telling. Yeah, they are going to take a look at it now. The referees have gone over to the penalty box and they're going to review it. That last angle that we had, though, didn't really do much. Meanwhile, the crowd, they're entertaining themselves during the video review with the wave. Surf's up. Let's see what this side will tell us. Once again, hard to really decipher. Once again, in real time, looked like the crossbar. Dumba, who's right there, had a pretty good view of it, but so did the referee parked behind the net. The puck has to fully cross the goal line in order to count. And sometimes the puck will go off that back bar and out in the blink of an eye, and usually the back bar tends to have that thud sound, whereas the red posts on the outside have the ping. Worth noting as well, the goal judge behind the net, I don't think he turned the red light on either. Referees, oh, it's a goal! They saw an angle, we didn't. That determined that Ville Koivunen has made it a 4-2 lead for the Pens. So all the fans were riding the wave. Now everybody's on their feet. How about that? fact, they're going to have to reset the clock to when the time that shot was released by Koivunen, so some more time going to be added on here. 10:58 left to go in the third period, and it's a 4-2 lead for Wilkes-Barre Scranton. Now, every arena is outfitted with an overhead angle for video reviews such as that. We didn't have access to that, but that's the telling angle. And that's surely what the men in the orange armbands were looking at. And saw an angle that proved that Ville Koivunen's shot did beat Jeremy Smith up high. Koivunen, with his 10th goal of the year, reaches 30 points on the season. In just 24 games at the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins this year, icing about to be called against Bridgeport. And a goal in his 100th AHL game for Ville Koivunen. 12 contests with the Chicago Wolves where he scored his first AHL goal. And the rest of his tenure in the American Hockey League played here with the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins. Koivunen also skating in 27 games for the Pittsburgh Penguins this year. The run he's been on lately has to be just ballooning his confidence. Points in his sleep right now for Koivunen. And even shots that are initially called no goal prove to be undeniable after a second look. Pickering, shot from the point, gets blocked, bounces free for Aiden McDonough. Finds it at the right boards, but gets knocked off by Warren. Penguins try to reset at the point, but it's going to be chipped out by Beckman. Pickering covering enough ground to beat Jeffries to the puck. Up for Melvin Bernstrom. Swivels it ahead to Aaron Huglin, who completes the dump and change. Smith out to McWard. Just punts it out to the neutral zone. Penguins happy to accept that with 10.5 remaining here in regulation. 2-goal lead for the Penguins. Atlee Calvert streaking down the left wing, trying to make a power move across the crease, but left the puck behind. Now Howe scampers up to it, thrown to the point, stuffed back down low by Phil Kemp. Calvert eats a check from McWard. Bridgeport defenseman comes away with it, protecting it on his backhand, now loses his balance, even while falling down off kilter. Completes a feed ahead to Dalen Kiefler. He, however, can't thread it through to Pierrick Dubé. Kiefler hustles to get it back. Dalen Kiefler, second-year pro to the point. Ethan Bear, his drive, blocked. Now Dubé looking for it. Born in France. Now Bear, back to the point. D-to-D for Isaiah George. Backdoor wanted. Bear ends up hitting off of his stick and going out of play. We're past the midway mark of the third period, and Ville Koivunen found himself a lead-adding goal for the Penguins. It's 4-2 for the Black and Gold on your Penguins broadcast network. Penguins with 4 straight goals to assume their current 4-2 lead on the Bridgeport Islanders. Ville Koivunen just getting his 10th of the year after video review proved that his goal should count. Assisted by Matt Dumba and Joona Koppanen. 2 points for Koppanen this evening, a pair of assists. And always a good omen when Matt Dumba finds his way onto the score sheet. Penguins undefeated this year when the veteran defenseman records at least 1 point. Bouncing puck, pinballs wide of the Penguins' cage. And there's Dumba back competing for it, but it's going to slip loose to Cam Thiesing. George at the point, pass down to the bottom of the left circle. Sharp angle try by Bear, goes off the side of the net and wide. Matt Dumba missed Wednesday night's game after taking a puck to the face this past Sunday. That's why he's wearing the extra bubble out there today. Prior to the injury, Dumba had 12 points in his prior 6 games. Was named the AHL Player of the Week to begin the month of February. Avery Hayes was named the AHL Player of the Week the next week after he scored his hat trick and overtime game winner against the Hershey Bears. Avery Hayes with a hat trick and the Penguins win on Saturday. And even without Avery Hayes reaching the 20-goal plateau so far tonight, the Penguins still with enough offense to have a little bit of cushion here against the Islanders. Koivunen gave him that cushion. Now he sidesteps Bear. What a move, but Smith makes the save on the wrist shot. Koivunen jawing a bit, not sure if it was Smith or the official. Koivunen never shy about speaking his mind and running his mouth whenever he's out there on the ice. Koivunen a couple days ago was asked about his, we'll say, pesky demeanor on the ice and how much he likes to chat it up out there. Koivunen said, you know, sometimes I think they just get upset because they don't understand what I'm saying. I'm sure Jeremy Smith knows what that's all about from his time in China the past 6 years. Maybe he did pick up some Mandarin while he was over there. He played for China in the Olympics. Wonder if that's part of the citizenship test. Well, he's in Connecticut now, Jeremy Smith. Rushed onto the scene with a shutout in his first game with the Isles. Meanwhile, Blomqvist going to be clipped behind the Penguins net. That's a penalty upcoming to Bridgeport. Blomqvist realizing it, heads to the bench, but we're not going to get the stoppage due to Bridgeport touching the puck. The Penguins trying to grapple now with the Islanders, taking exception to the fact that Blomqvist caught that stray behind the goal. Big crowd forms right in front of the penalty boxes. Not sure who it was who got the touch on Blomqvist there behind the net, but the Penguins will just grab a hold of any Islander they can find. Well, who's being led to the penalty box here? It's going to be Pierre Dubé for Bridgeport. Joona Koppanen also being sent to the box for the Penguins, so maybe a retaliatory penalty taken there by the 27-year-old forward. We'll see what penalty minutes come out of this. The Penguins haven't had a power play in this whole game here. Rocky Thompson getting some messaging from his player Alex Jeffries, but looks on perplexed as he awaits word from the referees. Under 8 minutes to go now in this third period. And the Penguins are putting 5 skaters on the ice here, so not an even up call. There's going to be a power play here for Wilkes-Barre Scranton as Gauthier goes back to the penalty box with his tail tucked between his legs to likely serve an extra minor. Penguins power play 14.5% on the season. That's 30th out of 32 teams in the league, but they've been doing much better as of late in terms of their success rate, or even just challenging opponents, pressuring them, gaining scoring chances, and not surrendering momentum whenever a power play proves to be unfruitful. Penguins trying to really put this one to bed here. Dubé getting a roughing penalty and a goalie interference minor. Meanwhile, there's a traffic jam as the Penguins are spelunking for this puck. Finally pulled out by the Penguins, moved to Avery Hayes, wrist shot juggled by Smith, but still kept it out of his net. Fernstrom resets, but his pass across the crease broken up by Bridgeport, thrown to center. Koivunen defending a 2-on-1 rush. Fernstrom got back there. The Penguins break it up. 5 forwards out here on this power play for the Penguins. Fernstrom, saucer pass, denied at first, now sneaks it through to Koivunen along the goal line. Avery Hayes, sharp angle shot, saved by Smith, and then he'll fall atop the loose puck as Mitchell falls atop Avery Hayes. Avery Hayes with 12 goals in his last 10 games coming into this one, including that February 5th storybook NHL debut for Avery Hayes. Love that his family was able to come out and make it out to that game too in Buffalo, because Avery Hayes only found out that morning that he was going to be called up. He found out on the drive to Buffalo that he was going to play in the game, and this is what he ended up pulling off. Not one, but 2 goals in the first period. The 3rd player in Pittsburgh Penguins history to score twice in their debut, and just the 7th player in NHL history to do it with 2 goals in the first period of their first game. Going back to 1917. Here's a pass broken up by Liam Foudy. Shorthanded breakaway against Blomqvist, and he's able to tuck it in. Liam Foudy with the shorthanded goal pulls Bridgeport back within 1. This one's not over yet, folks. 6:49 left to play. And a power play that could have put this one to bed for the Penguins ends up breathing life back into Bridgeport. Picked off by Foudy right in the high ice, and he's got the speed to break past anybody all alone against Blomqvist. And look at Joel Blomqvist. He stretched out as far as he possibly could, but Foudy waited him out. Flipped it in, his 30th point and 19th goal this season. 4th shorthanded goal scored by Bridgeport this year. And now Wilkes-Barre Scranton still with some time left on the power play, trying to regain their 2-goal lead. The video review goal by Koivunen the difference right now. Hallander working out here with McCrory, Hayes, Koivunen, and Aho. Pass backdoor intended for Hayes, never makes it through. Now it's Koivunen walking across the high slot, passes right to left for Sebastian Aho. Darts it down to Hayes, whisked back to Aho. Rendered for Koivunen, now bottom of the right circle, McCrory in the slot. Philip Hallander, backhand pass, denied by Day. Found by Isaiah George, who's gonna lug it across his blue line and then flick it on the backhand down to the Penguin zone. 10 seconds left until Gauthier comes out of the box, serving an extra roughing penalty by Pierrick Dubé, but saw his team pull back within 1 in the process. Open man in the slot, it's Howe with a wrister, blocked by Smith. And Bridgeport says it went out of play. Eventually the whistle comes from the officials, who agree. Penalty killed by Bridgeport. In fact, they're now +1 on the penalty kill, making it a 4-3 game. We'll be right back on your Penguins Broadcast Network. Penguins fans aren't quitting on this team after they gave up the shorthanded goal to Bridgeport. That made it a 1-goal contest. Young fans all fired up. Like we said, it's been a great crowd throughout this one. We'll see if the Penguins can get this one across the finish line here, pick up their 34th win of the season. the Providence Bruins were losing to Springfield upon last check. And here's a quick try. 2 saves by Smith, and then the rebound checked away from danger. Thrown out to the neutral zone by Jeffries after it hopped over Pickering's blade. Rifled back in by the Pens. Delayed offside, however. They say the Penguins jumped across the blue line a moment too soon. That gives Bridgeport some time and space to work with. Jeffries' pass, knocked down by Calvert, trickles back to Mitchell. Thrown over into the feet of Cole McWard. Ahead for Jeffries. Entry thwarted by Dumba. Up for Atlee Calvert, but it spits over his blade. You see Beckman. Curl in front of the Penguins bench. Giving up to Highmore. Highmore, top of the right circle. Ran out of real estate there. Tied up by Atlee Calvert. Highmore steals it away again. Drop for Jeffries. Shot. Darted on goal. Stopped by Blomqvist. Puck is loose. Now it's not. Trawled in by the Penguins Finnish netminder here. Under 5 minutes to go in regulation now. Yeah, the Providence Bruins, they made it a 1-goal game, but there's 19 seconds left against the Springfield Thunderbirds at the Thunderdome. If Springfield hangs on to that one, it will end Providence's 13-game winning streak. They've been on a crazy heater lately. That puts them atop the Atlantic Division standings. Providence also with the second-best record in the league. Wilkes-Barre Scranton, well, if they can get this win tonight, they'll pull within 4 points of Providence. The Penguins with the third-best record in the AHL. But what's most important, you can see that divider line. The Penguins want to stay in the top 2, get a bye, bypass the best-of-3 opening round of the Calder Cup playoffs, sit back and watch how that opening round shakes out, and play whoever's left for them afterwards. Bridgeport, they just want to get into the playoffs right now. 5th place. Offside going to be called against the Penguins here. Yeah, Bridgeport 1 point ahead of the Lehigh Valley Phantoms, who currently lead the Hershey Bears 5-4, but that's late in the second period. Penguins also trying to improve to 5-0 in their season series against Bridgeport before they go head-to-head again tomorrow. But the Military Appreciation Jersey Night auctions are still going on right now on the Dash Auction app. Scan the QR code at the bottom of your screen to get in on the fun, get in on the buzz. These black and gold military unis. Nona Koppanen, 2 assists tonight, taking this face-off. Sebastian Aho lined up behind him. Scored a go-ahead goal for the Penguins in the second. Right now the game winner belongs to Koivunen, who taps it over to Sebastian Aho. His wrister tipped up and out of play. Joey Larson getting the stick on it. Ville Koivunen gives a nod back to Sebastian Aho. But it looks like the Penguins going to make some alterations here to their skaters. The Bros, Hayes, McRoarty line comes out now. 4 goals scored by Wilkes-Barre Scranton tonight. This line doesn't have any up. Usually that's a good sign. If you can score 4 goals and a unit like this has been held off the score sheet, it's a testament to your depth. But once again, they could drive the nail into the Islanders' coffin here. McRoarty for Hayes. His one-timer blocked. Hayes trying to hunt it again in the right corner, but Kiefler skirts away with it. Giving it Gauthier, flipped up into the air. Kemp hustles back, swats it away from Foodie. Now going to be dumped in by Day, but the Islanders, it's their turn to tag up on the delayed offside. Gauthier didn't get the message until it was a little bit late. So Aho has room up for McRoarty. Thread down to the Islanders zone. 4 minutes left in regulation. Bros and Day both lose their balance, but that opens things up for George to take it out. Kiefler stumbled with it right in front of the penalty boxes as Koivunen is back out here with Halliner and Koppanen. Kiefler able to race back and get that puck, prevent a breakaway from breaking loose there for Ville Koivunen. Bridgeport, they're down by 1 here, but don't appear to be in a rush. Now it's Thiesing taking it away from Day behind his net. Speeds past Koivunen and then runs into Halliner. Penguins pass it to center. Joona Koppanen gonna bank it to the right side boards. Stabs it away from Warren as well. Tied up by 2 defenders down low, so Koivunen's going to parachute in, helping out Koppanen. Koivunen slides through a check. Back for Bricky. Horseshoes it right to left. Imama jumps out here for the Penguins. Try to leave it in the slot for Koivunen, but it's slashed away by Bridgeport. Terry sends it down to the Penguin zone. Boko Imama checks both shoulders, sees the aisles coming, but deftly gets it to Melvin Fernstrom. Push north for Aiden McDonough. Whipped through the legs of Atlee Calvert, but he was across the red line, so no icing. 3 minutes to go in regulation. Penguins protecting a 1-goal lead with the shots 31-23. Matthew Maggio comes barreling onside. Pass in front, no one there for Bridgeport. Imama tied up at the right wall. Knocked loose by the Islanders, then flipped up the boards by Aho, but it's going to be Day keeping it onside. Slides it to the left. Mitchell's bid whizzes wide. Beckman picks it up off the right wall. Shot, tipped on goal, and a pad save. Blomqvist, rebound stopped as well. Maggio had to come right to his stick, but he was left staring at the rafters after Yoel Blomqvist slammed the door shut. 22 saves now for Blomqvist. And great positioning there by Blomqvist. Square there to the shooter, even having to recalibrate with the rebound, bouncing out there to Maggio following the redirection. Smith still in his crease, by the way, for the Islanders. 2:28 remaining. They're not going to pull the goalie just yet. Blomqvist 2-1-0 in his career against the Islanders. This was coming into tonight with a .946 save percentage. But now it's crunch time for Blomqvist and the Penguins as the draw is won by Bridgeport. Smith still at his net, deep in his crease as well. Warren, left wall. Shot goes wide, bounces to Day. Smith not making any moves towards the bench just yet. Dubé comes out from behind the goal. Pickering slams him to the boards as now Smith is going to make the mad dash to the bench, replaced by Chris Terry. Terry roars in as the extra attacker. Beckman hit against the boards. One of the Penguins doesn't have a stick as now Day dishes left. Warren in the slot off the skates of Terry and bounces out to the neutral zone. A favorable Penguins carom as it now allows them to get 5 skaters who all have sticks on the ice. Kefler accelerates across the red line. Swings it in, slowed down by Blomqvist, now in the feet of Avery Hayes on the right. Kicks it down into the trenches. Aho, swarmed by 3 forecheckers. And that numbers game works out for Bridgeport. They have the extra attacker out here. Bear throws it down in the right corner. Beckman knocked down by Aho. Avery Hayes trying to slash it out, and he does. Puck knuckles on its side at the top of the circles in the Bridgeport end. 1:18 remaining. Long pass. Beckman taps it to Kefler. Wrist shot goes wide. Bear there to keep it onside at the right wall. Down to Julien Gauthier. Gauthier defended into the corner by Joona Koppanen. 6'5" forward. Ties up Gauthier along the boards. Puck spittles free. Pickering trying to poke it out, but Bear keeps it onside. It's Beckman to Bear. Throws it over to the left. Isaiah George stutter steps. Given to Kefler. Walks out from the high slot. Back to the blue line. Now Bear fakes the slapper. Returns it to Adam Beckman. Beckman, wrist shot, slowed down, shot on goal, save, Blomqvist swirled around in his crease, but he's able to keep it out. Oh, spectacular stuff by Yoel Blomqvist, and now they're scrapping right at his crease as well. One of the Islanders has lost their helmet, that's George. Tied up with Tanner Howe. Meanwhile, Yoel Blomqvist being turned sideways in his blue paint, still somehow, some way, able to keep that loose puck from going across the goal line despite several Islanders occupying that space, seemingly in prime position to tie the game. Action stopped with 40.2 remaining. Let's see if we get another look at this to see how Blomqvist was able to keep his team in the lead. The shot from the point was initially stalled, slowed down by one of the Penguins, but it came right to Bridgeport, who slammed it on net. The first save by Blomqvist, and then chaos around his crease. And amidst that pandemonium, Blomqvist turned sideways, parallel to his goal line, but with both his legs and I think his goalie paddle, he was able to keep that one from crossing in. And it looks like Bridgeport is going to call its timeout. Scan the QR code at the bottom of your screen to get info on Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins tickets for the remaining home games left this season. We have 2 months left in the 2025-26 schedule. St. Patrick's Day game coming up in March. Star Wars night coming up in March. 2 big Saturday home games in April as well. The Penguins hope to be playing deep into the spring as well in the Calder Cup playoffs. And a former Penguin who knows a thing or two about playoff runs on the bench trying to help usher Bridgeport to a tying goal. Their head coach, Rocky Thompson, has the clipboard out right now, but hovering over his shoulder is Chad Kolarik. Joel Blomqvist, meanwhile, meeting back with his teammates at the bench, recuperating before retreating back to his crease to try and perhaps make another save to keep them in a 4-3 lead. They added some more time on the clock, too, during the timeout, so now it's 41.2 seconds remaining. Penguins assistant coach Brad Malone drawing up the defensive assignments for the Penguins. Well, usually it's a 30-second timeout. I think the referees, they're at the scorer's table right now. I'm not sure if they're reviewing a potential goal for Bridgeport, or rather how much time should actually be left on the clock. The referee's able to go to the box there for that review kind of undetected, so that's kind of extended the timeout for Bridgeport. Usually you only get 30 seconds for this kind of thing. Penguins, meanwhile, they also get a little bit extra time to recover. Referee's coming out of the penalty box now. Yeah, no goal is the signal. But a little bit of extra time for both of these teams to figure out how they want to proceed. 41.2 left. Penguins with 5 skaters out, Bridgeport with 6, but their net empty as they gamble to try and tie this game and force overtime for a second straight night. They rallied against the Springfield Thunderbirds to lose in overtime. Penguins were idle yesterday, so they're theoretically the fresher team. Both teams battle for possession. Comes back to the blue line. Ethan Bear tied up here by Tristan Brose. Bear doing his best just to keep the puck onside. Wiggles loose and just chip past Foodie. Avery Hayes looking at the empty net. He shoots and it gets redirected wide. Eric Dubé back there as the last offender, and a fierce back check by Foodie forced Avery Hayes' shot wide of the 4x6. But now there's only 14 seconds to go. Pickering with a stick check to Foodie. Tied up in the corner. 3 Islanders in there. Flip back to the point. Dubé passes to Beckman. Return to Dubé. Now Beckman with it again. 3 seconds to go to the goal line. Shot stopped by Blomqvist, and that'll do it. The Penguins hang on to win. Joel Blomqvist, a fortress in the final minute of play, and the Penguins win 4-3. The first game of this home-and-home set between the Penguins and Islanders goes the way of the black and gold. Just as every game this season between the Penguins and Islanders has been settled. 5-0 this year against the Islanders, and the Penguins overall on this season improved to 34, 13, 3-2. Now 73 points earned in their 52 games played this season. It came down to the wire, but they're glad they got Joel Blomqvist back there for situations just like that. Goals by Philip Hallander, Atlee Calvert, Sebastian Aho, and a game winner by Vitek Koivunen as the Penguins smiling in the win column here at the end of this one. I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in to tonight's edition of Penguins Hockey on WQMY My Network TV. Thanks to WQMY for hosting this edition of Penguins Hockey. Shout out to everyone who filled the seats here at Mohegan Arena at Casey Plaza tonight. A nod to the B&A crew upstairs for handling everything on the production side of this one. Another fun game here in Northeast Pennsylvania. Nothing short of excitement every time this Penguins team takes the ice. And they've been coming out as the victors more often than not here this season, charging towards another, perhaps, 40-win season under the guidance of head coach Kirk McDonald. 4-3, once again, our final tonight with the Penguins picking up the victory over the Bridgeport Islanders. Good night, everybody. Thanks for watching. And for those of you who are still listening on the radio side of our broadcast, we still have a little bit more coming your way. Post-game highlights, thoughts, and analysis on your Penguins post-game show right here on WILK News Radio. Awesome. Can you give me a bonus 30, please?
Yeah, and I didn't get the final Pens goal.
You know what? Because it was weird, that totally makes sense, and I'm fine with that.
All right, thank you.
Cool, thank you.
movement at geisinger.org/zing. That's geisinger.org/zing.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband Ryan died. We never received life insurance, but the unexpected
ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
Every morning, we rise and shine, make breakfast, and brush away the night's rest. These routines help us start the day off right. Nature-made vitamins are a simple step in that daily care regimen. Multivitamins with daily essentials, clinically studied probiotics for gut health support, magnesium to help relax the body. Nature-made is made to care for you every day. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Coors Light.
30 seconds.
Thank you.
Or not to chill.
You're welcome.
Friends gets your favorite song on the playlist. End of friendship. Or choose chill because that song lives rent-free in your head anyway. And you planned ahead by bringing Coors Light to the party. And the sound of that ice cold
And 10 seconds.
open with music to your ears already. Coors Light. Choose chill. Celebrate responsibly. 2024 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
You're up.
Bridgeport made it close at the end. Joel Blomqvist made sure that Wilkes-Barre Scranton didn't even need extra time to improve to 5-0 this season against the Bridgeport Islanders. And this was a game in which the Penguins trailed by a pair after allowing 2 quick succession goals in the first half of the first period. Penguins then rattled off 4 in a row to take a strong lead through that third period. Like I said, Bridgeport able to make the Penguins sweat a little bit there in the final moments. And that's why you have a guy like Joel Blomqvist in the crease. Yes, he was pulled in his previous start, frustrated as he went back to the Penguins bench after being yanked this past Sunday at home against the Cleveland Monsters. He actually allowed 5 in his last win against the Lehigh Valley Phantoms prior to the AHL All-Star break. But if you remember, in that game against Lehigh Valley, it was a 6-5 win for the Penguins where they asked Blomqvist to come up clutch in the final minute of play with a handful of saves against the Phantoms, and Blomqvist delivered. This time around, Wilkes-Barre Scranton ends up surrendering a shorthanded breakaway when it seemed like the game was at hand. That's what actually brought Bridgeport within striking distance of Wilkes-Barre Scranton, and Blomqvist once again tasked with being perfect in the last minute of action. And even when he's being twisted around his crease and being spun backwards, he still would not yield. And a big reason why the Penguins take the first decision of this back-to-back home-and-home set against the Bridgeport Islanders. Remember, tomorrow's game in Bridgeport got moved up because of the impending winter storm that's about to hit the East Coast. So it was 5 p.m. whenever you woke up this morning, the start of tomorrow's game in Bridgeport. It's going to be 3 p.m. now tomorrow. Of course, not going to change all that much for us here on the broadcast side. We'll have pregame coverage for you starting at 2:30, and of course puck drop at 3 o'clock from Total Mortgage Arena. But before we look ahead to tomorrow, let's cover everything that we saw here tonight. We'll roll the highlights here on this Penguins post-game show, starting with the opening tally scored by Bridgeport. 34th time this year that the Isles have managed to draw first blood in a game that's tied for the most in the American Hockey League with the Laval Rocket. It's Adam Beckman, their leading scorer, a seeing eye shot through traffic just under the crossbar at 6:06 of the first period. Just making little plays results in positive impacts. That was the case for Atlee Calvert the other night. Here's Travis Mitchell with a try that goes wide, reeled in by Beckman. Thrown board to board. Cole McWard, who's
10 seconds.
against the Pens, returns to Beckman, shot and score. Blomqvist bumped on its way in, but the referee says it's an opening tally for Beckman in Bridgeport.
You're back.
19th goal of the season for Adam Beckman, and a minute and 49 seconds later, they had a 2-0 lead. A drive by Ethan Bear went wide of the Penguins' net, but as we've seen so often here in this building, those active end boards here at Mohegan Arena at Casey Plaza trampolines the puck back out in front into a position where Julien Gauthier is able to stab it across the goal line. Didn't cross by much, but it was a good goal for a 2-0 Bridgeport lead. He's back on the bench. Fernstrom, Koivunen, and Hughlin on now for the black and gold. D-zone draw won by Bridgeport. Escorted into